Namibianization of the fishing industry has been hijacked, been abused, so that people or these uh, foreign owners can claim to be Namibians. I think, Sharon, you have had a big experience with Sameri eventually trying to claim that that vessel was yours, but it ended up not being yours. Um, so for me, I'm reading this extract because for me it is the essence, it's partly the essence of what we really have experienced in this Fishrot saga. And it's been going on for many, many years. So policies being hijacked by foreign entities with the willing participation of Namibians. Those few Namibians occupying key positions of authority that they were trusted just to benefit themselves. Um, so, in essence, this project is not so much about just a collection of the bits and pieces of stories that you have come across, that you have seen. It's especially a top job done by especially Prof um, over a period of, I think, half a year of research, never mind the writing, um, to help us understand how these kind of schemes are perpetrated. So it really, for me, it's a very good illustration for anyone who want to understand. Um, we've come in, Shino and I, with a few lines and chapters to make it more palatable. I think that's what we used to say to Prof. No, we want the book to be accessible to as many people as possible, many Namibians. So we've come in with our journalistic um, bit to make it more palatable. But in essence, a lot of the work is serious academic research, as well as maybe other in-depth analysis, looking to the past, the present, and the future, how to prevent this sort of thing. And I think I might not be stretching it to say um, the methods outlined in this book can probably be replicated or have been replicated in other industries. This is just a microcosm of what is happening. Um, the way we ended up as the Namibian getting into this story, the final Fishrot story, was really, in a sense, accidental. Accidental in the sense that um WikiLeaks, Iceland, and the Icelandic news organizations were the first that Johannes Stefansson, the whistleblower, got in contact with, together with Al Jazeera. Um, with Al Jazeera contacted us maybe 3 months before the before the story broke, but what they contacted us with was, "Will you make space to publish the story?" We were quite unhappy about that. We managed to get to rope in Sharon to speak with the Icelandics, to speak with Johannes, so that they can let us in on the book, because after all, we've done this similar work, or this kind of work, the legwork of it, since 2012, if not earlier. Um, but until the last 3 weeks or so, they wouldn't they wouldn't budge. But it appears Al Jazeera, or I can actually comfortably say Al Jazeera, got cold feet. Um, they pulled out of publishing the at the same time. You all remember their documentary. I'm sure many of you think it was the Al Jazeera documentary that got people to resign and arrested, but Al Jazeera's work only came after the elections. That was their reason. They didn't want to be accused of having influenced the elections. So they pulled out, and by them pulling out, with the help of Sharon, WikiLeaks, Iceland, and Johannes roped us in, giving us very short notice to um, co-publish and release the material at the same time. So that's how we got involved in this. The book itself is really a brainchild and the sweat of Prof. Greenberg, and really thank you for initiating it. His point when he came to me was, I want to write a book. I want to give Namibians something to look at and to appreciate how their resources are being fleeced off. This is the first time he said he's seen such a body of material proved to see how schemes like this are perpetrated. So, Tangeni, are you brave enough? Are you courageous enough to publish this book? Um, I think I was very naive. Just said yes, of course. Didn't quite appreciate that it's gonna be a lot of work, even though Prof kept reminding me about it. Um, the Prof was even so determined. At one point, he had to attend to surgery. Um, this is for me. It speaks to his commitment. He had to go in for surgery, so the Prof changed his will to ensure that this book gets done. If in case he doesn't wake up from surgery, thankfully he's here. That was his show of his commitment. So, in essence, I would just urge any one of you, every one of us to go through this material, and perhaps we can get the message to our leaders, political leaders, and especially those who are in government able to change policies, to appreciate what we need to do. It's not just about fisheries. Now talking about oil, there's a scramble coming up. Oil and talk of green hydrogen. We could probably use this as a blueprint how to look after our resources for the sake of all the Namibians, especially the vulnerable ones. I want to use this opportunity to just thank a few people and organizations for the support of this book or the project. People like my fellow journalist Dileni Mongudi. He's uh, he's been doing this sort of investigative work for a very long time. So Fishrot work is part of his DNA. There's Ndangi Kahirika, also a journalist who have done the initial work that will be seen through this kind of material. Chinovene, thanks a lot. We had lawyer Elise Angula to vet our stories before we published. You can imagine um, how fearful we were about how do we get out this explosive information, which even the ACC seemingly were afraid to get going with, just set on it. So Elise Angula helped us vet the stories so we could publish with confidence. Um, Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, Dennis Leire, and your country director, man, really appreciated for helping us, collaborating with us to bring this book to the public. Um, Editors who helped us, the UCT press, Johannes himself. I mean, I think we probably don't appreciate it for someone to put their life and livelihood on the line to get this sort of information out. We cannot thank him enough. Sharon, thank you very much, and even for agreeing to MC today. But thank you for that background push that you have helped us to get our stories out with confidence. There are a lot more people, um, but for all of us sitting here, I really would like to put on record, Shino Hona, where are you? Shino Ngodu helped. She was the de facto project manager. Um, as much as I can claim to be the one signing off things, it was she who was dealing with the prof, a whole lot of other people, the editors, and she is here today. Thank you very much, Shino. Really, really appreciate it. And finally, once more, thank you, Professor. Your baby is delivered.